as early as this weekend. Samaki Walker, though, filling in for Duncan rather capably, 13 points, 10 rebounds. But other than that, all Portland. Time winding down in the first half. Damon Stoudemire a three. Blazers by 16 at the break, and they kept it going in the second half. Off the Stoudemire miss, Brian Grant there with a tough offensive board. And then Steve Smith from the wing. Yes. And then check out Scottie Pippen here. How unorthodox was that shot? Everything going the Blazers' way in this one. They win at 93-77. Meantime, a tussle in Texas, literally. Watch Dallas Mavericks big man Sean Bradley elbow Houston's Walt Williams right in the chops. Williams takes exception, hits back. Here's another look. Came after the whistle. Williams thought it was deliberate, and that was his answer. Right back to the chops. Bradley bloodied in the face by the punch. One Rocket said, quote, "Bradley got what he deserved. This is basketball, not boxing." Both players ejected. Adding insult to injury, Don Nelson and the Mavericks lost to their cross-state rivals 112-102.
New York could tie the Heat for the Atlantic Division lead with a win in Toronto, but they got off to a very ugly start. Latrell Sprewell's jumper hits nothing but air. Then Sprewell hits nothing but backboard and rim. Only 6 points on 3 of 13 shooting for Spree. Later, it's Chris Childs with the air ball. Knicks get only 27 points in the first half. Meanwhile, Vince Carter and the Raptors were playing well. Here's Air Canada with 3 of his 34 points. That makes his mother very proud. Second half, the Knicks still can't find the knack. Patrick Ewing is rejected by Tracy McGrady. And then Sprewell blows the dunk. Toronto by 15. They've won 5 of 6. Dallas coach Don Nelson without the suspended Sean Bradley for the visit of Seattle, but it didn't seem to affect the Mavericks as they led by 23 at the half. After the Cedric Ceballos reverse layup, Steve Nash feeds Michael Finlay for the dunk, and Eric Strickland hits the jumper in transition. Dallas with their 37th victory of the season, their best record in more than a decade. Feeds Matt Geiger for the slam. Detroit were keeping it close, though. Jerome Williams drives around Theo Ratcliffe for the dunk. The Sixers led by 3 at the break and made a surge in the third quarter. Allen Iverson puts in the runner, and then Iverson drives and misses the runner, but George Lynch is there for the follow-up slam. Grant Hill lasted only 16 minutes before leaving with a sprained left ankle. With Hill gone, Philly close it out. After the pass from Iverson, Kukoc lays it in. Detroit now only 1 game above Orlando at 7th in the Eastern Conference.
Pond will be stocked again this offseason, but among the big fish, Grant Hill, and we'll check his frame of mind. Duncan has torn cartilage in his left knee. That has already kept him out of 2 games. They don't know how many more. He's in that day-to-day status, Coach, but it sounds like big trouble.
Yeah, Bob, without every single night, and he's a tremendous leader, plays defense all over the floor. He is their leader. They get him back, and they play San Antonio. I think definitely they would beat San Antonio. He's the key to their basketball team.
What if he comes back and just gives them limited luggage? Enough for a long playoff stay or just enough for a few nights away? The Blazers facing the Kings today on the heels of a win Thursday night over the Duncanless Spurs. But prior to that, there were losses to the Mavericks, and before that, to the Grizzlies and Rockets, all non-playoff teams. So from the outside looking in, there are too many questions for Portland this close to the playoffs.
Leads the league in technicals with 37. He's a disruptive factor. Sabonis is a tremendous passer, also a great outside shooter that can bring the center away from the basket, particularly if they have to play against Shaq. They need Sabonis big time to be 100%. He's a terrific.
But at the same time, this is a team filled with veterans. They know how to get it done, and the fact of the matter is, unlike everybody else, Steve Smith is the one guy through his college career at Michigan State.
It's today at Staples Center. LA 3-0 against the T-Wolves this season. And in those games, Shaq has taken care of business in a big way. 24 points in their first meeting, 26 the next, and then 37 as the Lakers, and in particular Shaq, have tamed the T-Wolves.
When you say Jordan,
they're going to win 50 games this year. Without Kevin Garnett, they don't win 20 to 25 games this season. The offense that goes around him, he's unselfish. He averaged better than 5 assists a game. He's improved his outside shooting. What I love about Kevin Garnett is the...
Grant Hill going to do this offseason? Stay with the Pistons or go somewhere else? It's a question everybody wants answered. And for the life of him, Hill can't figure out why. Their 3-game funk and hope they find them hosting their in-state rival Orlando. The Heat coming off their 3rd straight loss, the first 2 of which were blowouts that prompted Pat Riley to suggest that his team quit in those games, and he even said they should give back their pay. Well, Friday night, Miami lost to Indiana by 4, which tilted the home court advantage in the East heavily in the Pacers' favor. Indiana now 3 up on Miami in the East with Snu that comes to work every single day. The man signed a $105 million contract years ago, but he plays like he's broke, starving for a new paycheck every single night. And the fact that he was late, that he overslept, I think.
But there are matchups in the NBA. Strange matchups happen. Great outside shooting by Milwaukee really bothers Orlando. Orlando's a very aggressive defensive team, but perimeter shooting, particularly by Allen, Cassell, and Robinson.
I think before, early in my career, if you looked at, there was a lot of one-on-one drives to the basket. And
as the story goes, you started out 5-foot one-handers. How was that to start over, and was it humbling at all?
For about 2 months, it was all just one-hand shot. Repetition and getting a lot of shots up is vitally important for me. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely humbling.
You guys,
but it's hard when you're caught up in the whirlwind of 82 games. You got Philly one night, Indiana the next night. I mean, you can't be thinking about that. And so I haven't. And I understand people want to know, and the media and fans and what. We did a commercial together, and the All-Star games, and that's pretty much the only times I really talk with Tim.
Grant feels that he's developed a rapport with the players, and he hasn't really made any unnecessary changes. So Grant Hill is very happy with him and has endorsed him. But let's be real about this, fellas.
Their picks for top player in the league, Shaq, Zoe, and Garnett, made the final cut list. And clear some shelf space in Springfield for a guy named Zeke. Isaiah Thomas heads a list of 10 up for induction to the Hall of Fame.
Time now for our Federal Express delivery of the week. It starts with a little Orlando defense. Ron Mercer the steal, but Darrell Armstrong deservedly gives it back to Mercer for the finish. Take another look. Armstrong, the sweet no-look pass, and that's our Federal Express delivery of the week.
Yes, the Chicago Bulls are an horrific team, bottom line, but you look at Elton Brand every single night. This kid comes to play. He's been consistent all year long. He's been undersized, yet nobody can block his shot. He's averaging double-doubles as a rookie. Clearly, to me, he's
Bulls. Steve Francis has proven he can play the most important position on the floor, point guard, plays with great enthusiasm, tremendous athlete, and his team is competitive every night. Houston is showing signs that they should be good enough.
With a disgruntled coach, as far as I'm concerned. Look at Alonzo Mourning. I mean, clearly this man has been a force all season long defensively, and I'm not knocking Shaq, but Alonzo clearly is more active defensively, and to me, he deserves the award.
Play with the enthusiasm defensively that he plays now. He blocks shots, he runs back. They said he never learned how to play the pick and roll. He plays the pick and roll as well as anybody in the league. 2 more assists per game, 2 more rebounds a game, but plays 37 minutes per game. But the big thing right now, they have the best record in the East, the Pacers, and Jalen Rose now is the go-to guy when you have best on the team. You got
that's in that latter category. We're going to talk about that next.
Jordan and Dr. J, 2 of the all-time greats. I coached Doc for 3 years. We won 2 championships in the ABA. Michael, his rookie year. Neither player ever missed a practice or a game. They loved to play. It was so easy to coach them. And away from the game, when the game was over, they were so easy to deal with. Just tremendous people.
Power outage in Miami. A chef going to the generator to keep the roast beef nice and toasty. First quarter trouble for the Heat, though. Their star guard, Tim Hardaway, had to be helped off the court with an injured left foot. Third quarter, Alonzo Mourning in transition. No power outage there. The big dunk, Heat within 2. And then fourth quarter, Dan Marley making some noise. The Three from the right side, and then from the left side, same deal. Miami wins it by 10, 94-84, and the Magic fell into a tie with Milwaukee for 8th place for the final playoff spot in the Eastern Conference.
In the race, both coaches feeling the pressure. Milwaukee got off to a great start. Tim Thomas down the lane, little scoop shot. The Bucks had a 19-point lead, but if you know the Magic, you know they're coming back, and they did. Darrell Armstrong with a 3 from the wing.
Yes, sir.
And the Bucks are only up by 7 at the half. Third quarter, scary moment for the Bucks. Ron Mercer rolls onto Ray Allen's knee. Allen would have to leave the game and would not return. The Bucks would have to win without him. Could they? Well, Monty Williams did all he could to stop that. Gets the jump hook shot right there. The Magic up by 2, their first lead. Bucks come up big in the clutch. Tim Thomas hits the tough leaner off the glass, and then next trip, Darrell Armstrong turns the ball over. Back come the Bucks. Glenn Robinson ahead of the field for the slam. The Bucks lead it by 2. Last chance for the Magic. Chucky Atkins from downtown comes off the rim, no good. A crushing loss for one of the most hard-working teams in the league. Milwaukee has also been hampered by injuries, and the Miami guard was in street clothes, nursing a sprained left foot. But Alonzo Mourning stepped up against Toronto. A big block right here on Tracy McGrady. Now, scare for the Raptors late in the game. Vince Carter comes down on Bruce Bowen's foot and rolls his ankle. Frustrated, he would then throw down the talc powder. He stayed in the game. The Heat would pull away. Anthony Carter takes control. That's the nice drive. He had a game-high 17 points as the Heat win easily by 24.
Played for 16 years, and I don't want to come out there and be a mediocre player.
Throughout your career, you've been so outspoken. Do you have any concerns that one of the things you'll be remembered for most?
Still to come on World Sport, could Shaquille O'Neal and the Los Angeles Lakers lower the boom on the Tim Duncan-less Spurs? Had a bit of a boost of confidence by beating the mighty LA Lakers, who Shaquille O'Neal did hit for 22 points, and the Lakers were up by 6 in the third quarter. Fourth quarter, Spurs down 3, but we're tied. Antonio Daniels with a three-pointer. And the Lakers down 3 late, though. Rookie Devin George, the clutch 3 to send it into overtime. In overtime, though, Terry Porter passes to a cutting David Robinson, the Admiral, with 17 points. Spurs by 7, and Shaquille frustrated. Elbowing the Admiral. Check out the replay here. Shaq just working him. And the Spurs working the Lakers in the season finale, 103-98 to lock up home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs.
He is day-to-day. Samaki Walker picked up the slack early at 13 points and 16 rebounds. The Spurs kept close. We jump to the second quarter, tied at 32. Penny Hardaway driving, hits the layup, and gets the foul. The Suns would be up by 14 at the half. Third quarter, Suns seal it. Randy Livingston makes the steal. And finds Sean Marion with a big dunk. The Suns pull out the upset, beating the Spurs on the road by 2. To Utah, where the veteran Jazz started their quest to make the finals for the third time in 4 years and win their first title. And this one would be all about Karl Malone. The mailman ahead of the field gets the slam. 24 points in the first half for Malone, but he wasn't done yet. More for Malone in the second half, third quarter. Off a miss. Malone again with a patented slam. And the Jazz are up by 6. Moments later, John Stockton to Karl Malone. How many years have we seen this combo working? Malone with a career playoff high 50 points as the Jazz win this one by 11.
He develops a little half hook in his game offensively. He now spins and slams. He's become a good passer. But what I like is his focus every single night he comes to win. He's totally bought into the philosophy of his coach in foul trouble. But here you see Shaq, who was illegal, by the way, on this video. He has to go out and play D-Bots. D-Bots has to make that outside shot. He's an excellent outside shooter. Also in the post, D-Bots has some tricks to get some fouls on Shaq. I think they got to go right at Shaq. Okay. Garnett. This team probably wouldn't win 25 games. He plays with such great emotion. He's a tremendous talent. If it wasn't for Shaq, he might be the best player in the NBA. And his emotion is so positive on the floor. On the other hand,
We're going to take a look at how the Knicks plan to try and cool the hot hand Vince Carter has had against them. And here's a clue. Bodies flying everywhere. Well, there's two guys who've had a lot of success at Madison Square Garden, one more than the other. But the other, Vince Carter, will try to keep his hot hand there today when the Raptors open their first ever playoff.
In his 4 games against New York this season, Vince Carter scored 36, 29, 33, and 34 points. Bringing those numbers down will be crucial for the Knicks. But how are they going to do it? Success doesn't mean anything to the Raptors now.
Those are old games, and they don't count, and we can't carry those rebounds or turnovers over into, so, I don't know how much you can put into that game. So I think that they will be what they have been, a perennial playoff team, a perennial powerhouse, and we've got our work cut out for us.
If we go in and have a lot of turnovers, and hope that, when they get hit in the game, they can take it and keep going.
They're going to get roughed up. The intensity level, like I said, is going to be there. The games will be more aggressive. The whistles may not be as frequent as they were in the regular season.
Series. And you can tell them how different the season is going to be at the end of the season in the playoffs compared to the regular season, how much more physical it will be. They'll never realize it until they step on the floor in Madison Square.
Long time with mixed results that have never ended, and what it did to Milwaukee in the opening round last year, they'll be off to a fantastic start. They swept the Bucks with Reggie Miller averaging 26 points per game. Now this time around, it's a different Pacers team. Perceived
good defensively. You got two teams that concentrate on the offense. If Milwaukee's big three of Cassell, Allen, and Robinson can play well in this series and keep it close, this will be the most entertaining. Detroit's a team that really likes to drive the ball to the basket. Their two best scorers, Stackhouse and Hill, like to drive before shooting the outside shot. Here's Mourning blocking Stackhouse's shots. He had 9 blocks, total domination. But one thing, though, they only got 70 points in the game. They should force the ball into Robinson's hands because by nature, he's not a takeover player. He likes playing with Duncan, who's got a little bit more takeover personality on the floor. But I forced the ball early into David Shaq. He's a tremendous, tremendous player. What I like about Carl offensively, obviously he got 50 points. He is the most punishing offensive player I've ever seen in the NBA. He asks guys to come at him because he'll knock you over on the fast break. Great relationship. You have two great competitors. Iverson down the stretch of the game can score in different fashions. If I was Charlotte, I would double team him, even triple team him, make him give the basketball up.
Jarvis coached New York Knicks center Patrick Ewing in high school and is still considered close to the future Hall of Famer.
What did you think about that swan song, Coach?
I was happy for Charles to come back and get a chance to play the last game, and it was very significant that he would score his only basket on a follow-up second shot. What I remember about Charles Barkley, that he's only about an inch tall.
Round opponents, the Sacramento Kings, whose Jason Williams misses here, but Chris Webber there to clean up the mess in devastating fashion. Webber with 28. Kings up by 3 early, but then the Lakers went to work. Kobe Bryant off the turnover on the fast break. Spin and in. He had 23. Lakers up by 6. Second quarter, Shaquille O'Neal going to work against Vlade Divac. He loses his shoe, but even on 1 foot, Shaq still in charge. Lakers by 10 at the break. Third quarter, Shaq even more dominating. Really no answer down low for the Kings. Shaq just muscling his way to 46 points.
Misses over Williamson. O'Neal
working it over Divac there. Then later, Webber showing his frustration after being called for a 5th foul. Lets the ref know about it. Frustrating day for the Kings. They lost 117-107. The Lakers, a solid start to their title chase. A 1-love lead in the best-of-5 series. Knicks forward Marcus Camby matching up against Toronto coach Butch Carter, who's suing Camby for calling him a liar. Toronto's Vince Carter struggling in his playoff debut. He was 3 for 20 from the field. Perhaps some Madison Square Garden jitters, but the Raptors down just 7 at the half. Trying to get it going in the second half. You also got to give the Knicks defense a lot of credit. Had him, Carter, all bottled up and frustrated. Meantime, Allen Houston, smooth for the Knicks. He had a team-high 21 points as the Knicks won it 92-88 to take a one-love lead in that best-of-5 series. Back out in the Western Conference, third-seeded Portland rallied from a 4-point fourth quarter. Lake City, Gary Payton focused for Seattle, but didn't seem to help much. Second quarter, the Jazz heating up. Howard Isley, the three-pointer over Shammond Williams, and then Isley over Williams for the nice layup. Jazz by 11. And then Isley showing he can distribute as well. The nice little bounce pass to Malone for the emphatic slam. Jazz by 16 at that break. Now time winding down at the half-point mark, and it's John Stockton beating the buzzer. Jazz by 17 at the break. Everybody fired up for Utah. That, by the way, is what Pedro does for fun on the weekend. More Jazz in the third quarter. Malone, the little layup. He had 23 in this game, but even though he didn't have 50, it did not matter. Check out Jeff Hornacek here. The great body control. Just kind of throws this one up, and the prayer is answered. And then check out Hornacek's reaction. And make that? Oh, cool. All right, Jazz win by 14 to take a 2-love lead in the series. Game 3 of this best-of-5 series.
Season struggled early as he was covered by Eddie Jones on the jumper here. And the taller Eddie Jones making things hard for Iverson. He shot 2 for 8 in the first half with 7 points, but Iverson gets others involved. Pass to Tyrone Hill for the big slam. Time running out in the first half. Eddie Jones answers back with a big 3 at the buzzer. He had 19 points onto the fourth quarter. 89-84 Sixers, but the Hornets cut it down to 2. Fourth quarter tied at 89, and it's Eldon Campbell who gives the Hornets a 2-point lead, but the Sixers come right back. Iverson finding Eric Snow, who hits the shot. 19 points and 13 assists for him. Now the Hornets had a chance to win it in regulation. Jones with a pull-up. That's no good, so we go to overtime, and in the extra period, the Hornets and D.C. take over. That's right, Derek Coleman with a turnaround jumper, and then with a shot from the wing, finishes it off with a monster slam in the lane. 8 of his 29 points were in OT, and the Hornets tie the series up at 1. The playoffs in his first 6 years at the helm, but this year, the Hawks flew low, finishing the regular season with a record of 28-54.
In frustration, but his twin tower, David Robinson, picked up the slack in Game 2. A huge first half for the Admiral from Samaki Walker, Avery Johnson, and there it is with a big slam. He had 21 points in the first half, Spurs by 14 at the break. Robinson would finish with 25, highlighted by this nifty behind-the-back pass from Terry Porter. Robinson also had 15 rebounds. The world champs roll to a critical 15-point win to square the series at a game apiece. Game 3 is Saturday in Phoenix. Miami coach Pat Riley sporting a shiner after a swimming accident at his house over the weekend. Detroit trying to give Miami a black eye in Game 2. Jerome Williams knifing to the hoop to tie the game as injured Piston Grant Hill looks on. Under 10 seconds to go now. Game tied. Look at the great move by Jamal Mashburn. He had 24 points, Heat by 2. Detroit with one last chance, but Jerry Stackhouse slips on the floor and time runs out on the Pistons. And then check out Dan Marley. He's putting the boot to Detroit. Miami goes up 2-love in the series. Game 3 is Saturday back in Detroit. Carter's cousin Tracy McGrady came out storming. The big monster jam right down the middle. Raptors by 11 after the first quarter. Second quarter, though, the Knicks coming back strong. Patrick Ewing, the jumper. He had 19 points and 9 rebounds. Toronto's lead cut to 2. What about Carter? Well, 7 of 13 shooting, much better for 27 points. One of the final seconds of the first half. Raptors by 7 at the break. Third quarter. Off the miss, it's Carter throwing down, and the Raptors leading by as many as 11 in the third quarter. But the Knicks came storming back thanks to Latrell Sprewell. The winning basket he scored as the Knicks won this one 84-83, and another tight one. They lead 2-0 in the series. Butch Carter and Vince Carter still trying to put a positive spin on this one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Garnett of the Minnesota Timberwolves tried to avoid falling down 2-0 love against Portland. Garnett getting it done early off the Terrell Brandon missed 3. Check this out. Coming right down the middle for the follow slam. He had 23. Timberwolves by 5 after 1. Second quarter, the Blazers coming back strong. Brian Grant working on Garnett. Dunks over him. And that cut Minnesota's lead to 1 at the half. Second half, huge third quarter for the Blazers. Steve Smith drains the jumper. And then Scottie Pippen He hits from the other side. Blazers by 9 after 3. Fourth quarter, the Timberwolves trying to make a game of it. Anthony Peeler with the jumper. And then Sam Mitchell follows with a 3 of his own. Timberwolves within 2. But then later, Pippen trying to take control for the Blazers in the playoffs. That's why they acquired him. 21 points. The Blazers back up by 7. Now under 10 seconds to go. Timberwolves trailing by 3. Malik Sealy for the tie. No. Bounces off the rack. And again, a frustrating outing for Kevin Garnett and company as Portland wins it 86-82 to take a 2-games-to-love lead in the series. Were delivered a virtual knockout blow without even playing a game. The team's leading scorer, Grant Hill, learned Wednesday that he has a broken ankle and will miss the rest of the playoffs, which is likely to be just one more game as Miami leads 2-0 in their playoff series.
But Coach Larry Bird wasn't impressed by the Pacers in practice this week, and the Bucks look good early on. After Glenn Robinson hits the jumper, Ray Allen drains the 3 from the top of the key as Milwaukee lead by 23 at the half. The Bucks didn't let up in the second half after Reggie Miller loses the ball. Some magic from Allen and Robinson before Allen picks up 3. Indiana's frustrations boiled over in the third quarter with Dutchman Rick Smits ejected after elbowing Irvin Johnson as the pair fought for a rebound. Ouch. The Bucks' first playoff victory in a decade ties the 5-game series at 1. Phil Jackson talks with Kobe Bryant as the Lakers take on Sacramento, and Kobe carried the LA offense from the first quarter. Here he drives for the slam and gets fouled, and then on the break it's Shaquille O'Neal to Bryant for the alley-oop dunk. And then Kobe knocks down the long fadeaway three-pointer as he finishes with 15 points in the first quarter alone. It kept going in the second quarter. Here's a great view of Kobe's skills and the reverse lay-in. It's Kobe mania as the Lakers lead by 15 at the half. What could the Kings do to counter the LA machine? Not much, really. Kobe does a Jason Williams type move on his way to the basket and finishes with the lay-in. Williams himself didn't like it, as we'll see. Kobe finishing with 32 points as the Lakers go 2-up in the series. Cool. And after winning Game 2 in Charlotte, the Hornets with a handy lead in the third quarter, Derek Coleman nails the 3. The Sixers were getting frustrated. Matt Geiger, the center, gets called for the reach-in and loses his cool, but no technical foul is called. But Geiger would get back in the rhythm, and after Tony Kukoc goes on the fast break, it's to Ollie and Geiger with a strong hoop and the foul as the Sixers fans sense maybe a change. And then Kukoc with the great drive and the lay-in as the Sixers pull away. Iverson misses on this occasion, but Theo Ratliff puts it back as the Sixers do it easily. The Sixers move to within 1 game of eliminating the Hornets in the best of 5-game series.
With a banged-up knee. Penny Hardaway lived up to his all-star billing with a triple-double, 17 points, 13 assists, 12 rebounds. Rookie Sean Marion of the Suns, active as well, providing a second-half lift. 6 Sun players hit for double figures. They scored 25 points off of turnovers. That didn't sit very well with Greg Popovich. His Spurs now trail 2-1. In Milwaukee, the Bucks hoping to follow their Game 2 win in Indiana with more of the same. Bucks led by as many as 12, but the hot shooting of Reggie Miller brought the Pacers back second half. Miller hitting 4 threes in the game, finished with a game-high 34 points. Indy takes a 2-1 series edge. 109-96 was the final score.
Another Q&A session on This Week in the NBA. Question, can anyone stop the supercharged Lakers? Question, is Scottie Pippen finally proving that he doesn't need MJ to win a title? Question, has Butch Carter alienated his own team while hurting their chances of beating the Knicks? And question 2 about that series, and it's a hairy one. Did Latrell Sprewell start a new do craze that's sweeping the NBA? Or sub-question A, is this style coming of age again? Question, are the Jazz too old? Or is that a stupid question? A question to Sacramento. How it has been a tale of 2 Terminators so far. In Game 1, Shaq did his MVP type thing, scoring a career playoff high 46, grabbed 17 boards, blocked 5 shots. Then in Game 2, Kobe Bryant turned it up, throwing in his career playoff high 32 points as LA went up 2-0 in the series with whispers that the Kings had given up during Game 2.
LA should be proud of that we were able to do that to a team, but we have 1 more game to go. We got to take care of business.
We've been a pretty good road team. Third shots. He scores at will in the paint against this club. Here he is jumping over Divac for an easy offensive rebound. He scores against anybody they put on him. Divac, they can put Weber, Pollard here. I think you have to use all four of your people, Weber, Divac, Thunderberg.
During the season, and believe it or not, he shot 48% from the free throw line. That's worse than Shaquille O'Neal, people. I never thought I'd be able to say that, but it's true. And the bottom line is that Nick Anderson was brought here for things like this.